Today is part of my journey in trying the 12 color seasons, and today we're diving right into light summer. Light summer is all about cool tones, muted pastels, and light airy finishes. We're thinking lavender, soft roses, and icy pinks, everything gentle and soft. So for today's look, I want to create something that feels light, soft, and airy, basically a breath of fresh air in makeup form. So let's get to it. Before we begin with the base, I'm using two different primers and I've already done my skincare. I'm going to be using the Dynessa Myricks Blurring Balm in Universal, and then for my T-zone, because this one kind of gets into my pores, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Baby Skin. I'm using the Maybelline Multi-Use Face Stick in the shade 20, and I actually like this all over the face. It leaves a really nice, like, soft, radiant look that's kind of medium coverage. So I just like to draw it on my face and then blend it out with a brush. I love how this just evens out my skin and it looks really natural. And you can always build it up too, but I think it blends out perfectly. And recently I've been doing blush before concealer. That way if I go a little too overboard, I can blur it out. So that's what we're gonna do today. And I'm using the e.l.f. Camo Blush in the shade Bold Face Lilac. And this one is just a really nice cool toned lilac. And I'm going to focus this one on the apples of my cheeks and then kind of blend it upwards for a somewhat lifted look. I definitely went a little crazy with it. I love blush and I love it being super pigmented, but first I'm going to take a damp sponge and just tap it out, and then I like to go in with my concealer to further reduce how impactful it looks right now. So for concealer, I'm using this more so to brighten the center of my face, and I'm using the Physicans formula Butter Glow Concealer in light medium. And I feel like it just adds a little bit more coverage, but then also just like a little bit more dimension to the look. And I feel like it balances everything out without having to use contour, though you could for this look because we are using cool tones. And then blending out with a sponge. Then I just want to add a touch of highlighter, and today I'm using the Glossy Play Night and Shine in Platinum Rose, and just a little bit just to really pull in that radiance of this look. I'm super excited for the eye look. I feel like it's been forever since I've done a cool toned eyeshadow look. So first I'm going to start by priming my eyes with the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. And I only have this one. So I use this one, and then for the shimmer we'll use the NYX glitter glue. Now I'm just going to let this set and brush my eyebrows up. Okay, now we can start the eye look, and I'm going to show you how I do this with just one brush. I kind of feel like a lot of eye looks can get really complicated using all these different brushes, and I just want to show you it can be done. So I am literally just using a somewhat like medium-sized dome fluffy brush. And I'm going to start with a white shade on my mobile lid. I'm going to be using lavender, so I really want the color to pop and just maximize that pigment. So I'm using my NYX Ultimate Shadows palette, and I'm dipping into that white up here. And I really like to work it into my brush. And this one I'm more so just going to like stamp it in. It's a super sheer white. Like, I definitely have some Nomad palettes that have whites in them, and they are like really rich whites. But it's kind of up to your preference. I feel like this one works for my purpose, so it really just depends on what you want. And I feel like you can already see the difference. Then I just like to wipe the excess off my hand, or if you have like a makeup mat, you can do that too. So I'm going to start with lavender, and I'm going to work my way up to darker colors because I'm just using one brush. But the first lavender I'm using is in the ColourPop Pretty Guardian for Love and Justice palette. It's the shade Secret Powers, which is just this really beautiful like light lilac shade. So I just work it on there, and then I'm going to do the same method of just stamping it in. And this one is super light, but that is what we're going for. To slightly deepen up the look, I'm pulling out my Huda Beauty Pretty Grunge palette, and this one also has some color. It's plenty of color. This one also has some purple lavender colors, and the one I'm thinking is Beauty Chaos, which is kind of like a dusty light purple. We have this one and this one. This one's a little too pink. This one's a deep purple, and I think I just want to stay with the light purples. So I'm just gonna do the same method with the Beauty Chaos. I'm gonna focus this one more on the crease. Like I said, now we're going to use my NYX glitter glue and apply some shimmer. So I'm not 100% sure which shimmer I want to use yet. The 3 palettes that I'm using all have some really beautiful shades. Let's see, I think I'm just gonna swatch a few on my hand and see. Okay, yeah. So this one isn't the Huda Beauty one. This is Haphazard and way too deep for today's look. That's just Maverick, which is a super silver glitter shade. There you go. Rebel is like still super pretty and impactful, but I think a little too much for today's look. Oh my god, that is gorgeous, but yeah, I don't think that's for today's look. And then I was thinking in this one, that's in the ColourPop one, and this one is Twinkle, which is kind of like the same formula as that one, and just more yellow white, whereas the Huda Beauty one is like silver pink. So then this one here is Friends Forever, and it's kind of like a blue pink white shimmer. I have one more in this palette, and it's this purple one that I want to try. This might be exactly what I was looking for. It's super hard to get out though. Okay, that's Sugar Rush. I think that's the one I'm gonna look, but I need to wipe off my hands. So yeah, I've decided to go with the purple in here, and it's called Sugar Rush. And this one, I'm just going to kind of like lightly tap it where I want it. I don't want it like super concentrated anywhere. So if you had a gray eyeliner, that would be perfect for this look. I don't, I just have brown and black. So I'm just going to do a little bit of brown liner on the top, and I'm actually thinking black mascara, though if you have light hair, I would go with a brown. Okay, for the lips, I want to keep this like mauve-y pink going on. So I'm going to use the e.l.f. lip stain as a lip liner. This is the shade Cinnamon Dreams. It's strange because it's like a brown, but then leaves a purple stain, but I love it for that method, so that's just what I'm gonna do. And I know this looks so goofy right now, but I swear by this, so I'm just gonna give this a couple of minutes. So I just wiped it off, and I mean, see, it just leaves like a little bit of definition. I really love it. And I'm thinking of pulling a little bit more with that mauve. So I have the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in Shot Clock. And I'm thinking of just a little bit because this one is pretty purple. And then to top it and kind of bring back that brightness, I'm using the Buxom Plump Shot, and I have no idea what the shade is, but it's this really cute like baby pink. I haven't used this one, but it's supposed to be a plumping one, and it's just very light. It smells like peppermint. So if you want to powder this look or use setting spray, you definitely can, but I honestly love how this base feels. I've noticed that I don't really need powder or setting spray with it. The powder, like, you want it to feel light and airy, so the powder kind of doesn't really do that. And then you don't want it to be too dewy or glowy, so that's usually what you'd get with a setting spray. But I love how this looks. It's very like just fresh and light. And even though I use colors like purples and even kind of like this mauvey lip, it doesn't feel like too much or too in your face. And I'm kind of surprised that I like it so much. I keep finding that with at least the like springs and summer shades that I've tried so far. I definitely think this confirms that I have a cool undertone because I'm loving how this looks, and it looks just kind of natural. But I am super excited to finish up the rest of the looks and get my final consensus on what I think about color seasons. Thank you so much for watching this video. I would really appreciate if you like and subscribe and check out some other videos on my channel. Thanks, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!